my name is Ruth Loveland. I'm an artist here in Northern Oklahoma, and we are at my studio. As a child, I drew a lot, and I would draw the same things over and over and over and over. And I think I'm still that person as an adult. So I think even as a child, I did a lot of repetitious drawing. I don't know if that's so much an experience from my childhood as a characteristic that I have carried through. I think it would be not a particular quote, but this kind of notion that slow and steady is gonna be the way to do it. And so just kind of slowly, steady, everyday work on it, no matter what it is that you're doing. This work in particular is a little different than kind of what I was doing, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but I started noticing kind of this nuance. We have this really, really red dirt in Oklahoma, and I kind of started noticing nuances in it, just out hiking around and going to the lake, and started just kind of exploring the tones of red. And I adapted kind of this really simple paint recipe in the beginning that was just egg yolk and soil that had been refined, which is actually a really ancient way of paint making. It's kind of deceptively simple, but it's just refining down clay, soil with a little bit of color, and then made from how the elements come together, but it's actually made from what it actually is. Kind of just exploring connection with place through finding the nuance in this kind of soil that's around us everywhere. Some I'll collect and I won't end up processing, and then some I'll collect and I end up using them over and over. So I try to keep it within Oklahoma, or one state per piece, or one kind of location, but kind of branching out into other places. I found a couple other tones that I haven't been able to find in Oklahoma. This notion of inspiration can be really hard to pin down, because I think it kind of comes as this soup of who you are, who you're wanting to be, who you're around the most, what you're sort of feeding yourself with. I've always been really inspired by neurotic collecting projects, just any kind of just collecting minutia. More so, I think sometimes I'm more inspired by just the way that people live their life than I am from actual art or artists. Andy Jerkin was someone that I found in college. It was forever ago. She did these evidence collections, and that was really inspiring to me, in college, where she would pick up found things off of the ground and kind of label them with date and time, date and time and location, and kind of elevating this really mundane thing, that you sort of elevate it by your interaction with it. I think this particular process, I like it because it makes me feel really resilient. It's not based on purchasing anything. It's really just based on my, observation and my willingness to sit and paint line after line after line. And I think it's also kind of helps me connect with where I've been and, the aspects of the place that I am that are kind of eternal, or that were kind of predate anything, dirt is old as dirt, very old. I think art is important to me because it's a kind of a way that I process my kind of inner life and the way that my brain works. I don't know, it's kind of this external processing. So I think it's important to me, not as art, but just as a human behavior that I must do. I think just don't stop making it. I think that's my advice, is just keep going, do something every day. I love the opportunity that I'm getting to show at the Firehouse. I took classes at the Firehouse as a kid, as a teenager, post-college, raised my son in Lyons Park, which is basically the backyard of the Firehouse. I live in the neighborhood. I think that it's so important to have centrally located art programming for kids and adults. And I'm so excited to be a member of the Firehouse's backyard in the community, and also inside of the Firehouse, participating in that community as well. I'm Ruth. Thank you for coming to my studio.